Hello, good morning, MYM Insiders. How's everybody doing today? This is Rich Harshaw, and the Insiders Open Forum is exactly what it says on the title. It's an open forum to talk to the Insider members about whatever marketing things are on their mind. I think we've got a couple of submissions today. One, I believe, from, let's see here, Luke. I see you're on here. Although I've got Luke and Stephanie that are going to participate. I see that both of you are on a microphone on your computer. That typically doesn't work well. Luke, let me see if I can unmute you and see if it works or not. Luke, are you there? Yes, it does not work. Here's what you're going to need to do, Luke. You're going to need to switch the audio on the console. Stephanie, you're going to need to do the same thing. Switch the audio to telephone instead of mic and speakers, and then you're going to need to call in on the access code and put in the audio pin that it gives you. If you do not do that, it's going to be tough to talk to you.
Our night is your computer got stolen. Your computer fell in the bathroom.
Yeah, that's just not going to work. So if you guys could please do that, that's going to allow us to have a conversation with you. Hang on just 1 second while I check. Okay, here we go. It's getting close now. Okay, Luke, just go ahead and punch in your audio pin. Your audio pin is #92#. That's specific to you. Other people do not need to use that. Yours is #92#. Luke, go ahead and type that in and you should be ready to roll. All right, Luke, I need you to put your audio pin in, or I can't unmute you until you have your audio pin put in. Your audio pin is #92#. Well, while we're waiting for that, Arnie, do you got anything to talk about? You usually got something that you want to say, and I see that you're unmutable. Okay, we cannot proceed until the people who are participating have the correct dial-in sequence. Let's see here. Entering the pin, but nothing is happening. The pin that you should be entering is #92#. In that exact order, #92#, Luke. If that does not work, I recommend hanging up and calling back in. That might do it. I'm not sure what the problem is. Hey, Arnie, how you doing? Arnie? You are unmuted.
Hello.
Hey, I actually didn't know. I wasn't. I was actually trying to talk to Luke, not you. But while we're waiting for him to get on.
Okay, so it does work. I put my pin in, and you can hear me. So you can go ahead and try Luke.
Yeah, I can see that he's. I've got an indicator on my screen that shows whether or not they're unmutable, and he is not currently. I'm going to go ahead and mute you back out, Arnie. I'm going to try to go over here to Stephanie. Maybe she's available. Okay, wait, there's Luke. Luke, I can now talk to you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay. I apologize for that. I don't know what was going on there, but
It's a little bit maddening. You know, sometimes if you dial in and you put the wrong audio pin in first, then it kind of freezes you out. So anyway, we're here now. Luke, I've not met you before. You work for DiBella, is that right?
I do.
And what do you do over there?
I am one of the sales reps, as well as I help with some of the marketing and customer service side of things as well.
Okay, and we're here to talk about what, incentive programs of some sort?
Yeah, we're trying to build a referral program to get more leads and get recommendations or get referrals from customers as well as employees and different contractors, and just needed some thoughts on what gets people to give us information of other people that we could call or have them call in and give them benefits for doing that.
Okay, so you listed three things. You said customers, employees, and other contractors, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's start with probably the one that requires the least amount of discussion, which is employees. What have you done there? Anything? What makes you even come up with that as an idea?
Well, we have quite a few employees, and we want to try to build something. We don't really have anything right now. For the sales reps to do a little bit, they get a little bit more commission if they can get some referrals, but we'd like to build something for all the employees that if they can give us a contact that we can go see, they would get some sort of compensation for that. So we don't really have anything in play right now, but we do have quite a few employees, and a lot of them have access to meeting people and getting people to give them referrals. So.
Okay, well, let's start with some fundamentals on referrals, okay? Because some of this may require you to look at the way that you do things internally a little bit different. So in other words, there's a referral program that you can put into place, but the referral program's effectiveness is going to be dependent on other things that happen independent of the referral program. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it's kind of like saying, if I've got kids and I'm raising my kids, what parenting techniques should I utilize? And if I use all the right parenting techniques, I might get good results. But if the underlying parents are jerks, then the techniques may not be as effective. They can't hurt. You might as well use the techniques. But if you got an underlying foundation of jerkiness of parents, you're going to have crappy kids, right? Now,
Gotcha.
I'm not saying that to suggest that DiBella has an underlying jerkiness or suckiness of the company, but here's what I would ask you to think about. And I'm asking you to think about this because I know a little bit about your company. I've talked to Nissa on a couple of occasions, at length on one occasion, but I don't know really all that much about your company. Here's what I've seen makes the biggest difference in getting referrals. Number one is doing something extremely memorable, and we'll talk about what that could be in just a second. The other one is communication. These are the things that enhance the customer experience to the extent that it makes people just want to give referrals outside of any kind of referral plan, which we will still talk about in just a minute, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to talk about them in reverse order. I'm going to talk about communication first. Here's what I found. That companies that make a concerted effort to communicate with customers during the entire process of the project, from the sales meeting until everything is completely done, tend to get more referrals. And I'll tell you why, and I'll tell you specifically what I mean. If you look at an average roofing job, you guys do roofs, right? I know you do
Yes,
other things, but you do a lot of roofs. Mm-hmm. So if you sell me a roof today is December 13th, and don't worry about the holidays. Pretend like the holidays don't exist for our time frames that we're going to discuss here. In a normal circumstance, if you sold me something on the 13th of the month, when is the job going to actually start production?
Probably about 2 weeks out.
2 weeks out. Okay. And how long is the job going to take to complete?
Probably a day and a half.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to call it 2 days for easy math.
Sure.
Okay. So here's what we've got. We've got the 13th, and 2 weeks out is roughly the 27th, something like that. I'm going to assume that could be plus or minus a couple of days, right?
Yes.
What happens in the intervening 2 weeks?
Not much. It's just a waiting period where we're just scheduling stuff and making sure financing went through, and then ordering the project, and then they'll get a call and say, hey, we're ready to start your project.
What happens from a communication standpoint? Not much?
Not much, no. we're working on that with the sales reps in the company. So.
Here's a couple of things you might want to consider, and you're going to hear this, Luke, and the background of your mind is going to be saying things like, okay, does that really make that much of a difference? And what I want you to know is that it actually really does make a difference, because here's what happens. When somebody decides to do business with you, do you guys require money down up front on the jobs?
Most of them, yes.
And how much do you require down?
Just a minimal, just any amount, anything that shows.
What's typical? You're in sales, right? So what's
$200?
typical?
Yes, about $200.
And what's the balance of the job typically? 10,000?
Yeah, thereabouts, 10 to 15.
Okay, 10 to 15,000. So, okay, the fact that you've got a lower amount down than typical, most guys are going to ask for 1,000, 2,000 down, something like that. So that helps. But here's what happens: you commit to this project, even if you don't pay right up front. It's still, emotionally speaking, it's a big deal because it's a lot of money. I want you to think about this. The average person during the course of a 5-year period of time, excluding cars and excluding houses, how many things do they buy that cost $15,000?
0, very little.
I mean, it's hard to even think of what those things might be. I mean, maybe a really nice vacation, maybe, probably not that much, maybe college tuition. You know, so this is something really, really big, and it's easy for us as a company to take that for granted and say, well, you know, we're selling jobs all the time. How many jobs have you sold that were $10,000 to $15,000 in the last 5 years?
Me personally, or as a company?
An average salesperson.
An average salesperson for our company is selling, 3 to 6 a month or more.
Okay, well, it's 5 a month times roughly 50 months, 250 jobs a year. If they've been there any length of time, here's the point. I think it's pretty clear, right?
Right.
It's really commonplace for you to sell these big jobs, but it's extremely uncommonplace for them to buy them. So there's a disconnect. You know exactly what happens when you sell a job. You know that you're going to turn the order in, and then they're going to check the credit, and they're going to order the supplies, and then at a certain time they're going to deliver the material. And you know exactly what's going to happen. They've never bought a roof before. They don't know all of that. So here's all I'm saying is I've seen definitive increases in referrals by simply putting in place a couple of communication checks. Number one, the salesman sells, obviously. The next day, at the point of sale, the salesman hands the customer something that says, here's what to expect.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now, it doesn't have to say literally, here's what to expect, although literally saying here's what to expect next isn't a bad idea. But it basically says, we're going to turn the order in. If there's financing involved, we're going to check the credit. We're going to place the order from your materials. Those normally take anywhere from 2 to 5 days to arrive in our warehouse. I'm making all this up. Obviously, you can make this for your situation. Then we've got to arrange for our crews. Obviously, we're a big company. We run a lot of jobs. That normally takes anywhere from another 2 to 5 days to get a crew arranged for your job. Bottom line is it's going to be anywhere between 10 to 18 days before we actually do the job. Now, now they know that, and then you tell them, we're going to call you, 3 days out or whatever you would normally do. So this is step number one, is to hand them this sheet that says, here's what to expect. And then I would recommend that you throw in maybe 3 additional communications besides this sheet.
Okay.
And you're probably already doing at least one of these, because I'm sure you call somebody and say, hey, we're coming over to do your job.
Right.
But here's what I would recommend. The very next day after the salesman, some kind of a communication, maybe it's just a voicemail from the sales manager, maybe it's an email from the sales manager, maybe it's from the salesperson that says, hey, I want to thank you for your business. By way of reminder, here's the time frame you can expect.
Gotcha.
Here's what's going to happen. And then just kind of reviewing what's on the sheet. And it can be done via email. It can be done via voicemail. I'm assuming that most people don't pick up their phone. Obviously, if they answer their phone, you just tell them. And then maybe a week out from the job, hey, just a reminder, it's getting closer. We'll call you at least 3 days out to let you know. Because I've heard this complaint a lot in the home improvement industry. There's a lack of communication, and then all of a sudden you're dropping materials on their lawn, and they're like, hey, what the heck?
Yeah.
I forgot, or I didn't know, or it was sooner, or it was later, or what's going on. So I'm going to leave that discussion right there, and I'm going to let you kind of take and run with that. But I'm bringing this up because I've seen this make a big difference. Because here's what we want to do. We want to make people feel really, really good about this. Now let's go to the second thing, which is doing something memorable.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I recommend. Now, I'm going to give you a general idea, and I'll give you some examples that are specific, but you fill in your own specifics, okay? I don't want to impose any specific ideas on you. I just want to give you the principle with some examples. I would recommend that you give your customers a gift at the end of the job with a value that is reasonably commensurate with how much the job cost. If you sell a $15,000 roof, my recommendation is that you would spend maybe about $50, a minimum of $25, to get them some sort of a gift, whether it be a gift card to a local restaurant or to a popular chain restaurant, or that's easy to administer. What's harder to administer is an actual gift. But here's the cool thing about gifts. People love getting gifts.
Right.
When was the last time you received a gift that was not your birthday or Christmas or some kind of designated special occasion? And I'm asking you personally.
You know, I don't
really remember. It just doesn't happen that often.
You're right.
And now, here, I'm going to take it up one level. When was the last time you received a gift outside of the expected holidays or birthdays that was not from one of the people that you would normally expect would give you a gift? Your mother, your wife, girlfriend, brother, whatever.
I don't
and
recall
it goes
that
down
at all.
even further.
Yeah.
So here's what happens. By giving this gift, you have the ability to really surprise in a delightful way somebody. It's a nice way to thank somebody. I've given this example before on these webinars, but I built a house in 2003. I moved in right at the beginning of 2004. It's a pretty big house. I'm not going to say that it was Donald Trump's house, but it was a fairly expensive custom house. And at the end, the home builder sent me a little kind of like cookie jar thing with, I don't even remember what it was now. It's been long enough ago. Here's what I remember. It was extremely unimpressive. And I went, wow, I just spent how much money with you to build me this stupid house? And you sent me this little kind of goofy thing. So there was this disconnect. It would have been better if they wouldn't have sent anything.
Right.
What I'm suggesting is if you do send something that's reasonably commensurate with the price paid, and that is going to be something that they're going to like, and it's gonna surprise them. It's gonna catch them off guard, and it's gonna be something that they'll like. Now, here's what happens: let's say you give them a gift card to name a restaurant, Outback Steakhouse, Chili's, Red Robin, something like that, something that is locally there in the area. They're gonna go out to eat. Everybody eats. People love food, and as they're eating, they're going to be pulling out that card to pay. And they're going to be thinking, wow, DeBella gave me this card. That's really cool. I really like that. Hey, now that you mention it, they did a really good job. We really like those people. Hey, that was a pleasant experience. And hey, all of this is subconscious, right? They're not saying this,
right?
But they're feeling good about it. So what we want is this gift to act as sort of an exclamation point at the end of a pleasant experience.
Gotcha.
That will make a normal level pleasant experience now more memorable. And we've also accomplished something very, very critical, which is we've invoked a human psychology law called reciprocity. We have now given them something. They gave us money, and now we've reciprocated by giving them good service, but we've now upped it by giving them a gift, unexpected. Now, as we go back and we ask for referrals, the likelihood is going to be higher. Now, here's the next part of this. Understanding that referrals are typically genuinely more available later on after the sale than they are at the point of sale.
Right.
Because if you ask your customer today, hey, do you know anybody that needs a roof? The honest to goodness truth is that they probably don't. Because how would they? Do you keep a mental inventory of all of the things that your friends need?
No.
I am looking at, I'm just looking around my office here, a printer. okay? You know, you print stuff out from your computer. Which ones of your friends or acquaintances or people you know need a printer right now?
I have no idea.
How would you even know that? What about, oh gosh, okay, I've got a surround sound theater system in my office, believe it or not, I actually do. Which one of your friends need that?
No clue.
Well, I mean, you could probably think, well, you know, I've got some friends that might like that kind of thing.
Right, exactly.
But which ones are actually actively in the market that you would give a referral to somebody if they asked? Probably none. The referral is going to come later when your customer is naturally talking about things in just the natural flow of conversation with their friends, and the topic comes up, which it will. So we want to make sure that we've positioned ourselves well to get that referral then. So everything I've talked about now, up till now, has been sort of foundation building so that when the opportunity does come up, that you get the more referrals. Obviously, if you ask for referrals at the point of sale, even if you don't get a lot, it's still worthwhile to ask for them. But now we're going to take it to the next level, which is you had talked about a referral program, and the principle is very simple. Things that get rewarded get done. So I would look at it and say, how much money do you normally spend to get a new customer? Well, I know you guys do a lot of canvassing, right?
Right.
Canvassing is not free. It costs money to hire people to do it, to have managers, to send them out there. The materials that you may hand out, all of this stuff costs money. How much do you spend? You don't have to answer the question specifically, but it's got to be at least several $100.
Yeah, it comes up to about several $100s per lead.
$700?
About 400, I believe, is what the number is.
Okay, we'll use that number as a placeholder. $400. Now, if the number was 500, would you still pay it? And the answer is, of course you would.
Oh yeah.
If it was 550, if it was 600, and you know, at some point we're going to get to a number, you know, 1,000, 1,001, 1,015,
right,
where NHTSA says, you know what, this is too much, we'll pass. But you know, you've got money to spend, a couple $100, $400, $300. Here's what I recommend. I recommend that you offer the biggest, fattest, juiciest amount that you possibly can for referral. Right. Because you're willing to pay it anyway. Now, you might look at it and say, well, you know, we count on referrals to just kind of come in and be gravy, and we don't pay for them, so they're a really low-cost way, and they kind of help us offset the more expensive leads. Okay, great. Then try that for a while. See if you put the communication things in place that we talked about, put the gifting program that we talked about in place. Mm-hmm. Now, see if those things make a difference and an increase. Then I would try maybe for a limited time. Hey, we've got a $500 Visa gift card for anybody that gives us a referral that actually buys. We'll give you, you know, a $25 gift card for a referral to Red Robin. Let me say that differently. A $25 gift card to Red Robin for a referral, and we'll give you, you know, $300 if they actually buy. Experiment with these things, but know this. The program can make a difference. Now, here's the problem with the programs. This is my experience. I have found that companies in the home improvement industry find them very difficult to keep up with and to administer. Because it's one more thing to do, one more thing to keep track of. But I've also found that the larger companies tend to do better with it because they tend to have people that they can have focus on it.
Right.
And maybe that person's name is Luke, you know.
Just happens to be, yes.
So I don't want to discourage you. I actually do tend to discourage my smaller clients from administering these kinds of programs because I know that they won't actually keep up with it, and they'll get behind on it, and it'll be more of a nuisance than a help for them. For a little bit larger companies, you know, this could be big time. I know that Hanson's Windows, one of our clients in Detroit, they have a massive referral program. They'll give you, I can't remember what it is, I think they pay $100 for a referral, and if you get 6 customers referred that actually buy from them, they'll refund your entire purchase price that you paid with them up to $10,000.
Nice.
Now, that's an interesting scenario because, I mean, think about it. How many customers actually are going to follow through with 6 jobs referred that paid? And the answer is very few. But, you know, to pay up to $10,000 of a refund, I mean, you're looking at what, $1,500 per job?
Right.
It's not an unheard of amount of money to spend, especially given the fact that you're not on the hook for the $10,000 during the first, second, third, or fourth, or fifth referral.
Right. Exactly.
So here's what I'm encouraging you to do. I'm encouraging you to really look hard at your numbers and pay more instead of paying less. It's very tempting for companies to look at this and say, "Oh, well, let's give $100." Well, I got news for you. Nobody gives a rat's butt about $100. They just don't. And the guy that does give a rat's butt about $100, he doesn't know anybody that's going to spend $10,000 with you, because all of his friends are in Amway and in college. And they're all broke.
Gotcha.
But you start making that amount a little bit bigger, then it starts to be a little bit interesting for your average customer. So let's review a couple of things here. Number 1, foundational stuff, communication, a gift program. Number 2, a rewards program. Here's number 3, constant communication with the target market, whether it's customers, other contractors, employees, putting something in their faces to remind them on a consistent basis. I would put, if I were you, at least once per quarter, a mailer in your customer's face that says 2 things. Number 1, buy more stuff from us. And number 2, give us referrals. Now, you want to say it better than that, but
no, I understand.
This is the foundation, right?
Right.
We took the time to communicate with them. We took the time to give them the gift. But I promise you, if you don't continue to stay in their face, they're going to forget who you are.
Right.
And you say, "Oh, they're not going to forget us because we're developed people love us." Yeah, well, you know what? At the same time, you're the roofing company. I like to tell the story about I've got a security gate on my driveway. And it seems to work fine now for the last few years. But there was a period of about 5 years where that stupid gate seemed to break down about every 3 to 8 months. Let's call it every 6 months. And it would just quit working. So we'd call a guy, and he'd come out, and he'd fix it, and we'd pay him, you know, whatever, $73 or $111 or something like that. And then 6 months later, it would break down again. And every time it broke down, me and my wife would look at each other and say, who is it that fixes our gate again? I don't know. I don't remember. Finally, a guy got smart enough, he put a sticker on the dumb box where the gears and junk are. But people just, they don't remember stuff like this. They got other things to worry about, more important than who was the guy that fixed my roof 2.5 years ago.
Gotcha.
But you know what? 2.5 years is when that referral just might come up in natural conversation. They're sitting at dinner. The guy says, "Golly, man, I'm hammered because I've been up all night because my stupid roof was leaking last night when it rained." The guy goes, "Really?" "Yeah." "Well, did you call somebody?" "Yeah, but, you know, the guy came out. He was a clown. He smelled like smoke. He just looked gross." "Oh, geez, man, I used DeBella. They're awesome." Oh, boom. There's your referral.
Gotcha.
But here's what you don't want to have happen. "Oh, yeah, I used somebody. They were good. Who was it?" Oh, who was that?"
Gotcha.
But if they were sitting there at Red Robin pounding cheeseburgers, you know, that's going to help. So these are all just some ideas. With your employees, you might want to put some kind of significant bonus in place for them. I wouldn't hesitate to do that.
Right. Gotcha.
You know, I might make it a contest too.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Now, question for you, and you may not know the answer. I don't know. We're in Oregon, and I know where there are some limitations as to what we can give away. Is there things like, you know, obviously iPads or stuff like that? Can we give stuff away like that as bonuses or whatever or as incentives for, you know, if we did a contest? Are we limited by that at all? Do you know?
For employees?
Yeah.
I don't see any reason on earth why you would.
Why would be limited?
check with your attorney, I guess, or your accountant if you feel like you want to, but I don't see any reason at all why you couldn't incentivize those folks.
Gotcha.
You know, that you may have an issue with accounting. You may need to show that as part of their compensation and taxes and all that. I don't know. So,
right. Okay.
You know, maybe you need to deal with that particular issue. But yeah, I think that that's something you could definitely do.
Cool.
And what you might want to do is, like I said, make it a competition where, you know, hey, whoever gives the most, and don't be afraid to communicate honestly with your employees in terms of the costs associated with accruing business and being willing to pay it to them. Hey, you know what? We have canvassing crews. Everybody knows that. And we found that the average cost to get a new job is about $400. So we're willing to give that money to you if you can give us referrals. I mean, you love working here, don't you? Tell people, talk about it. We'll give you little business cards that you can put at gas pumps that has, you know, a specific phone number that people call that's traced to you, you know, whatever. I don't know.
Right. Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Those are just some ideas for you. I mean, that's not, hey, here's the definitive program, but I think it's some good starting points for you.
Yeah, no, I've got a lot to take away and put into place here, and I appreciate the input in more ways than you know. Just we try to communicate the best we can, but I do believe we need more of it, and I do believe it will help our cause tremendously. So. Yeah,
we're about to talk to Stephanie here in just a second. She's our next participant on this call, and I've had a similar discussion with her, and I know that they sent out some treats to their customers. In fact, Stephanie, I see you're on. I'm going to unmute you here. Stephanie, are you there?
Yes, hello.
Hey, I've still got Luke on the line. Can you speak to that promotion you did where you sent out, what was it, cookie tins?
Sure, Luke. Nissa's aware of it, by the way, so she has all the documents. I actually just sent her all my information. We're friends, by the way, whoever's listening. So we sent out, we're going to be sending out a tin of cookies to every homeowner, and we just started with 130 because, you know, it's kind of, you wouldn't think cookies are expensive, but that was $4 grand, so I had to hit my cookie limit. But I had the tin. I took Rich's advice, and not a bag that will get thrown away, but a nice looking tin with my logo on it, and it arrived actually the week of Thanksgiving, which was great because it was on everyone's table, and hopefully they talked about us, great things. I had a letter that went with it that described our new referral program where we offered, to Rich's idea, which it's working out well, 5% off up to $500 for both people. So the person who refers it will get a check in the mail, a real check at completion of the job, and then the referral person would get that promotion, you know, on, you know, at the point of sale. And if, obviously you need to put that into Market Sharp so the salesman's aware of that so they can, you know, budget that into the cost of the job.
Right.
And I also just included, we now sell green fiber insulation, so I included that. But the key thing, as Rich said, you know, we're a small company. I had to have someone that's going to follow up on those. So we have a person that's calling and saying, hey, did you get those cookies? And, you know, is everything going great? And by the way, did you hear about our new referral program? And like Rich said also, no one's really saying it, like they don't know someone that right off the top of their head, but then, you know, they'll say, okay, what's a good time for me to follow up with you? All right, follow up with me next Friday. Next Friday came, that person called. They said, you know what, my godson just bought an antique farmhouse. He needs, you know, 20 windows. You know, could you set him up? Great. Now he's in the system. So we've had 2 calls so far that have worked with it, and we're really excited about seeing how we can take it.
That's awesome. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and, you know, I don't know either of your companies in tremendous detail, but what I do know of both your companies is you've got a good foundation in terms of being honest to goodness, caring about your customers, treating them right. So that positive experience gives you so much more, you know, a solid footing. I'll tell you just a funny little story. This is going back about 5 years ago. We did a Christmas promotion that we promoted to our customers that we would help them execute for, man, I'm saying this with all kinds of messed up language. We helped them execute a Christmas promotion to their customers, home improvement companies, okay? So we put together a Christmas letter that they sent out, and it offered some particular amount of discount if they bought more stuff you know, during a certain period of time at the Christmas holidays. And of course, the rationale was, hey, it's Christmas, so we're going to give you this bonus. Well, one of the companies was a window company in Chicago. The other one that we did it for was a home improvement, did all kinds of things in Washington, D.C. Long story short, the Chicago company got huge results out of it, sold a ton of stuff, was just tickled pink, worked really, really well. Meanwhile, the company in D.C. got nothing off of it, the same exact letters. And they were a little upset. Hey, you know, this didn't work. Well, here's what we found out. The company in Chicago had customers that really genuinely liked them and had a good experience doing business. The company in D.C. was a little bit more, they were high-pressure sales. They sold on payments to lower-income people, and their customers kind of felt like, hey, it's kind of like going to the quick loan store, right? You're glad that they're there if you really need the money, but you kind of begrudge them because they're making a fortune off of you. And that's how their customers felt about them. So just having customers that love you makes all the difference in the world. One last story, and then we'll move on to what you want to talk about, Stephanie. The guy I know that gets the most referrals of anybody is Dan Wald from Zen Windows. The reason he gets referrals, he has no program in place. He does not ask for referrals, but he gets referrals. He's the 5-minute window guy. He puts no pressure on people. He sells windows in 5 minutes. I'm not telling you to sell windows in 5 minutes. I'm just giving you the principle here. His approach to selling is so disarming. It's so friendly. He's so easy to talk to. His customers love him so much that they just give all kinds of referrals. He never has to do anything or ask anything. They just pour into him. He sells about 60% of his jobs off of referrals. And his closing ratio is like 80% on those leads. So, and it boils down to one thing: his customers truly. It's one of those once or twice or maybe 3 or 4 times in a lifetime experiences where you buy something and you're so thrilled with the process that you just rave about it. That's what he does. So move in that direction if you're not already there. Luke, I'm going to go ahead and mute you out. Thanks for participating. And Stephanie, it's just you and me now. So what do you want to talk about?
So I sent an email out. We had to put a deposit because we were going to lose our space for the home show. And primarily, that's what we started with in the beginning of our business because that's all we really had, and we needed to make leads quickly. But I'd love to hear about, I know you've talked about it at other webinars, kind of like a systematic process to getting either lead names or, I mean, we never actually set appointments at home shows, so if you do that, I remember you were saying something along the lines that there was like some sort of coupon you hand out that has like a $1 bill on one side, and you say, hey, and you kind of stand in the hall and say, hey, you want to get $500? I forget what it was, but I just, you know, is there a systematic process for home shows that you recommend?
Yes. So here's what I'm gonna give you the easy way to find this out. Okay. Let me think about this.
I package too, so. And I don't have to know it now, but I want to know that there's 2 shows that I have to make a decision on. Do I want to do this show? Is it going to be worth my money? It's $2,000.
Yeah,
I don't have to add any more manpower because I'm just going to move the hours around. So I want to know, are home shows worth it pretty much in order to make me sign this application? I don't have to have the answer to the whole home show thing today, but I just want to know, what do you think about home shows? You think it's worth it? You know, that kind of stuff too.
You know what? I'm trying to find. I don't actually have this. I'll tell you what. Let me do this. I'm going to have Judy in my office or Chad in my office, one of those two, send you a link to a home show webinar that I've done so you can see some of those items. But the short answer is yes, it does make a big difference. The bill is not a little coupon bill. It's a big, fat, freaking 17-inch by 7.3-inch bill. That sounds just like dimensions, and it's hard to picture that, but let me just say this. That is really big. It gets huge attention. We like to couple it with a giveaway. It's all part of the home show system. The reason we do a giveaway is twofold. It gives us a good way to interrupt and talk to people on the front end, and it also gives us a good way to interrupt and follow up with people on the back end. Long story short, let's say that you do a $10,000 home improvement giveaway. That's going to cost you somewhere in the neighborhood of about $5,000 for materials and supplies and people and all of that stuff at typical margins, okay? You give this away once a year. You don't have to give it away after every show or anything like that. You do it once a year. You can use this in other areas, canvassing. You can use it online. But here's the way it works. You print out the big bill. You don't print them out. You have them printed up.
Mm-hmm.
And you hand it to somebody as they're walking down the aisle of the home show, and it has, if your giveaway is $10,000, it's got $10,000 printed on it, and you say, man, I can't talk, Stephanie. You can say a couple things. Number one, you can say, hey, how would you like to win a $10,000 home improvement giveaway as you extend the bill? The other way is even simpler. Say, hey, I want to give you $10,000, and you extend it. It's so interrupting that people go, hey, you know, what's this? And they grab it. Now, that's good because you've got their attention. It's disarmed the uncomfortable nature of trying to talk to people who are walking by. We all know what happens at these home shows, right? People walk by, they kind of keep their eyes down, and they kind of take sideways quick glances so that they don't make eye contact with people, because if you made eye contact with every guy that was exhibiting at the show, you'd never make it anywhere through the show, right?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of this uncomfortable scenario. But as I extend this, I say, hey, I'd like to give you $10,000. I've broken the ice, so to speak. And then you say, yeah, we're giving away $10,000. It's a home improvement giveaway. You can choose windows or siding or doors or whatever it is that you guys do, roofing. And all you got to do is fill out this form. Would you like to sign up? Guy says, well, yeah, I guess I would. So he fills out, there's a very specific form we have where he fills out his contact information, obviously. But then on the right-hand side, it says, what is your dream project? And under the dream project, it simply lists the services that you sell: roofing, siding, windows, doors. And then underneath that, it says, I would like to get a quote on home improvement projects. And they can check it off if they want, but we don't give them an option to check, no, I don't want a quote, because then if you call them later, you know, it seems awkward. Hey, I thought I checked, I don't want a quote. Why are you calling me? So they fill that out, and then we have a set of what's called qualification questions. These are questions that as we're talking to them, we ask them these questions in an effort to distill their interest level and urgency. Oh, so I see you checked off replacement windows. How old is your home? 15 years old. Are the windows original to the house? Yeah. What are they made of? Are they vinyl windows? Are they aluminum? Do you know? Are they wood windows? Oh, they're vinyl. Okay. And what makes you say that would be your dream project? Are they fogging? Are they wore out? Are they not energy efficient? What's the problem with them? And the guy looks at you and says, oh, hey, look, I just want a contest. Well, you know, he's not that interested, right? But maybe he says, well, you know, they feel drafty, or they feel, you know, whatever the problem is. Okay, great. Have you ever talked to a contractor about replacing them? Have you looked at prices? Have you started to investigate? No, I really haven't. Okay, and then you go into appointment set. If it's appropriate. If it's not appropriate, you don't. But here's what I recommend strongly is setting appointments at home shows. It works. You can do it. It absolutely will happen. All you need is some kind of easy way to schedule. Maybe it's through some kind of online scheduling software. Maybe you just bring a book. Market Sharp, right? Yeah.
What happens at the home shows, which, you know, and this kind of leads into my second question about maybe getting a script for the guys, especially with rebuttals, is that, well, you know, I'm going to get bids from everybody that's been here. I want to get bids from NewPro and Pella and, you know, Right Window and, you know, blah, 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 blah. And then, you know, I'll make it, you know, but I mean, then I guess I could say, great, well, why don't you make an appointment with us? You can hear everybody else. And then, you know, I don't know. I think by helping them have like some sort of script with rebuttals will be helpful for them.
Yeah, we've got a general script for using qualification questions. It doesn't necessarily have that specific rebuttal, but you know, that's something that you could easily script out. I mean, it's not that difficult of a rebuttal, right? Well, I want to get quotes from everybody else first. Okay, well, we're part of everybody, so let's do it.
Okay, yeah.
You know, okay. I mean, really what you're trying to do is here's what you can't do. You can't say, well, if somebody wants to get all these quotes, then, you know, they're going to be very price sensitive, so we're really not interested. I'm not suggesting that's what you're saying, but that would be something that I have heard before, to which I would reply, then don't show up at the home show.
Yeah.
But we all know that there's good deals to be had, and if they are not setting appointments and you are setting appointments, then you're ahead of the game. If you're both setting appointments, then you're at least even in the game and you're not behind in the game. So watch the webinar. I'll get a link sent over to you so you can see the particulars of how that works.
I watched it. I just don't have it anymore because that's how I heard about it. It was before I became a client and of yours. So and I was, I thought, oh crap, I need to be doing that. That's what I kind of wrote down. I'm like, that's great.
I want you to see all the components of it, and when you emailed me last week and said, hey, we're need to do home show stuff, in my mind, I just automatically go, oh, okay, great. We need to get the big bill going.
Yeah.
And you know what? Even if you don't want to do a giveaway. Oh, by the way, let me back up. The other reason we use the giveaway is because now when we're following up on the back end, the people that didn't set appointments, instead of calling them and saying, hey, we want to set an appointment, hey, can we come give you a quote? We call them and we say, hey, remember last week at the home show when you signed up for our giveaway? It was a $10,000 home improvement giveaway. They might say yes or no, but whatever.
Yeah.
Say, well, just calling to let you know that we hold that drawing every year on the 4th of July, so it's obviously not coming up quite yet. But we do hold first place drawings monthly, and I'm calling to let you know that you won. And what you've won is a $1,000 gift card, good towards any project with us. It's up to $1,000 off at 10% of any job that you do. So I just want to get that mailed over to you. I've got your address here. I see that you live at 1231 Whispering Oaks. Is that still accurate? Yeah? Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and send that over to you. And the guy goes, oh, okay. By the way, I see here that you checked off that your dream project was a new roof. How long has it been since you moved into the house? Is the roof original to the house? And guess what I'm doing right now? I'm going into the qualification questions again.
Okay.
With the intention of setting an appointment if possible. And this is all in the script that I have.
Okay, great. So just a question, though, so it would pop in as a rebuttal. So they said, well, I want to wait till July. Well, you're not offering that free product, free $10,000 until July. So do you think does that come up or not?
Well, I mean, it's a real simple rebuttal. Hey, great. If you win, then we'll just refund the entire price, up to $10,000.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's no big deal.
I like the first place drawing. I like that. Like, okay, well, each month we do that, and,
Well, I created this, Stephanie. I was talking to a guy in a seminar about 6 or 7 years ago, but they did a ton of shows. Their whole business was show-driven. At any event, fair, anything, they were there, okay? And they were a gutter protection company. And they would collect 15 or 20,000 names a year at all these shows. And then they would call people on the back end and they'd say, hey, we're going to have a rep who's in your neighborhood next week. Would there be a good time we could stop by and give you a quote on gutter protection? And I thought, that's a lousy follow-up presentation. I said, how does that work? And they go, it doesn't really work that good. But they're playing the numbers, right? So they got so many numbers, and they got people jamming the phones that they get enough people to say, well, I guess you can come over. I thought, well, why not do a giveaway and call people and tell them they won? What would you rather hear? I've got a rep in your neighborhood. Can we give you a quote? Or I'm calling to let you know that you won.
You won, and you didn't win the 10,000, but you won 1,000, and then you just put it into the job.
Well, let's review what we know. Number one, we know that they filled out the form to win. So obviously, on some level, they were hoping to win.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why did they fill it out?
Yeah.
So when we call them and say, hey, you won, and look at how we position that as a $1,000 gift card. And I wouldn't be afraid to literally make up plastic gift cards. It looks like the kind that you get from the Olive Garden or On the Border or something, so that it looks very official and there's some sort of weightiness to it. And you can mail these out. We've got a letter that you can mail them out on the back end, because obviously if you call people, you're not going to get a hold of everybody, so you mail them a letter. Hey, just calling to let you know, or just sending you this letter to let you know that we did not have our grand prize drawing yet, but we do have first place drawing, and you won, and your gift card is attached.
do you put a stipulation on that? Like, what if someone says, okay,
Whatever
I want
you
to buy
want.
that, but then they want to buy like a $2,000 door or something? So
You're in charge, so it's whatever stipulation you want. I think a good stipulation is a $1,000 gift card. It's good for up to 10% off, up to $10,000, $1,000 discount.
So it's kind of like the referral, 5% off up to 5%.
Yes.
Okay.
But see, the first thing they hear is what? $1,000 gift card.
Yep.
They say, oh, okay, well, here, give me one window. Okay, great. That's, whatever, $900, so we give you $90 off. And it's all on there. It's not like you're trying to hide it from them, but, there's something in marketing and advertising that is accepted within the realm of considered to be ethical, which is to put your best foot forward, even though your other foot kind of stinks and is back further. People know that. They know that the car advertised in the paper or the one that you see in the BMW commercial is fully loaded and pimped out, and it's probably not the one that you can afford. People know that.
Mm-hmm.
And they're okay with that. Mm-hmm. So to say that it's a $1,000 gift card and then, a little bit of fine print is not a problem.
Now, like any Macy's ad or whatever, you know that, it's not exactly.
It's within the normal confines of what people expect. So you're occasionally going to get somebody that says, well, this is only 10% off. It's not $1,000. And, in the words of the immortal Neil Peart from Rush, sometimes you just wish them well and send them on their way.
Okay. David would relate to Rush, not me, so I can't say that.
Well, the concept is sound. Here's what I'm trying to say. It's really simple. It's easy to listen to the squeaky wheels when, in fact, they're a minority. So just send them on their way. Say, yeah, I'm sorry if that offended you. Then don't redeem it.
Have a connection to get those plastic cards?
It's called Dale. He's all over it. We do it all the time.
On listening on all this awesome ideas, or is it just you and I?
What's that?
So there's other people listening to all this awesome stuff?
Yeah, we got a little attendance going here.
If it was just you and I talking, that's why.
No. They're all muted out.
All right. That's awesome. Okay, so I will. I'll sign up for the shows then, and.
Well, let's talk about that for just a second, because your first question was, should we even be there in the first place? Because if you've got a great strategy for what to do at the show, but the show sucks, it doesn't. It still could suck, right?
Shows. That's why people go there because they want home improvements. They're not going there to see, a band play or it's a Christmas craft show. These are home improvement shows. They're in the spring, early spring. They're very well attended and advertised.
If they're well attended, that's the big issue. Is are they well attended? I've heard a lot of people from all over the country say, these shows just don't pull like they used to, and that can be a concern. But if they're well attended, yeah, I would show up. $2,000. Worst case scenario, you find out that it stinks and don't go back next year.
I think that they're the two biggest shows up in New England. It's the New England Home Show at the Seaport World Trade Center, and then it's the Suburban Home Show in Wilmington. And so, like I sent you, my numbers weren't great, but I think it's because I didn't have a systematic plan. And so.
Wilmington, Delaware?
Wilmington, Massachusetts. Kind of more like.
Okay. I didn't know there was one.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, Wilmington. It's at the Shriners building.
Okay.
So,
well, did you know we have a Paris in Texas?
No.
Just fun fact for you while I've got you on the phone. We're ending up here. There is a Paris in Texas, and it is, in fact, true story. Look it up. Okay. It is where French fries were invented, and they were called French fries because they were invented in Paris, Texas, and it was French, but not really. Stupid story, but true. Anyway.
And they call them frites, so it should be frites. You can say that's where the frites were invented.
Anyway, yeah, I'll get a link to that webinar sent over to you, and you can check that out again and see some of those details, and then we can work with you to put the materials together.
And I want to put some of those banners with my identity. I'm psyched.
Yes, obviously that's how that works. And then that big bill on the one side is the big bill, on the other side is your identity stuff.
I love it.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stephanie, and thanks, Luke, for participating. We'll go ahead and wrap up now. We'll be back next week with a Tuesday morning ad clinic on Tuesday, and then the rescheduled innovation call will be next Thursday. So we'll talk to you then. Thanks so much. Bye now.